Hi, welcome to Waaaghscapes. Flocking, resin, pouring the resin water, river. Let's go. Okay, so here's my flock lineup. Italian herb mix first for some scrubby branches and twigs and stuff. Woodland Scenics weeds, dark green, and then green blend for my mediums, and some burnt grass. Sprinkle just a little bit of that on, just for a couple of highlights and some drier areas. And this is PVA glue and water. Just a little bit of water just to get it a little runnier. I'm going to paint it on pretty liberally to make sure everything sticks first, and then I'll go over with some PVA glue water, spray, and seal it all down. So I've seen a couple videos on how to pour the rivers and what kind of pigments they used. And on one video I saw, they used brown mixed in with a little bit of a midnight blue, like that. And I think that gave a really nice color. And then I decided to try the same brown and then use just a tiny little bit of green. And of course it doesn't come out green, it turns that yellowy color. And I'm kind of liking the yellow. I don't know. A little bit torn. Not too sure. I don't want the river to look blue, right? I don't know. So when in doubt, go with an outside opinion. I checked with the missus, and she says the blue one is the better option here. This is just water, by the way. I didn't say that. This is water. I'm just trying it out. She even said go a little bluer, but I think once you pour this over here, it's going to look cooler because of the grays and whatnot in there. So I think right about where it's at, I think that's the right color. We're going to find out. Okay, I've done the pour. It's looking good, and more importantly, I don't see any drips right now. I've put it up on a block so that if it does start to drip, I'll catch it right away. Right, the edges are sealed with Mod Podge painted in there, and you can still see it in there because I was too impatient to let it dry. I think it'll still dry. It'll be okay. Once I take the tape off the other side, it'll have some air and it can dry out. We'll find out. I also poured a little bit of this into a cup, and just so I've got a reference for what it looks like. So hopefully I can get it out of there again, but whatever. If not, I've just got a little color reference, right? I think it ended up a little less pigmenty than I wanted. It looks pretty darn clear, but I don't really have a problem with that either. I think that looks pretty good as is too. So I don't know. Maybe I need to make it even thicker than that. A little darker. Also, I did not have quite enough to get the height that I wanted. I wanted that a little higher, so I might have to do a second pour. So I've poured the resin. It's set now. The masking tape on the edge did a fantastic job of creating a barrier, and it was sealed with Mod Podge, again, to make sure it didn't leak out. And the one problem I have here, I'm getting a glare, I don't know if you can see it, there we go, is that over here, there's this gray area over here, right? You see some gray brush strokes over in this area here, lesser extent over here. That's where I had painted it and sort of feathered it back a little bit, and I assumed that when it dries clear then it would be okay, but it did dry clear, but focus, there we go. But then when I poured over top of it, right, you can see it there. So next time, maybe don't feather it back so much or at all, just run a bead. But I am happy that it's not all over the freaking table. In terms of color, I did one pour, and it was about this color here. A little bit of brown, a little bit of blue in there, and it was, I think, too light. I wanted to go a little bit deeper with the blue, so I went with a little more blue paint in there, and now I think maybe it's too blue. And again, the problem here is that the water shouldn't be blue. Water looks blue because when you see it, you see the reflection of the sky. Up here, here's my reflection of my hand. There, you see the reflection of the sky, which is blue, so it looks blue. But when you're playing the game, there's no sky above you, so should it be blue? Should it be brown? I don't know. I went with blue. I don't know. If it's muddy, it's going to look stagnant. Or if it's yellowy or brown, it's going to look stagnant. I want it to look like it's a fast, cold running stream, right? So I think it's okay. But I'm going to go ahead with the texturing and see if that makes it look different. Maybe when it's got textured and it's got ripples in it, it'll look a little better, right? When it's smooth like this, and the blue, I don't know. I'm not sure yet. Ta-da! Alright, working on the texturing now. So like I did on the sample, Mod Podge. I'm just kind of slapping it on there and just getting a bit of a stipple to start. There we go. And I know that it sets up pretty quickly, so I'm just kind of doing this in sections and not an air compressor today. We're using a straw. And I really can't talk while I do this. I really like the look of the blowing it around, of that texture that creates there. So trying not to be linear about it. Like logically it'd be easy to just go back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. But that's not what you should be seeing. Again, I'm getting some nice shapes, and then the surface tension is kind of pulling it and flattening it out again, so I might keep going over it a couple times until I'm happy, but yeah, it's working. Alright, I'll just keep going at this. Okay, texturing is done. I'll let this set up overnight and see how it looks, and of course I can always go over it further if I need larger ripples or something, or if I need to correct something, but I think that's got it. And of course, by leave this set up overnight, I mean getting patient and then start using a heat gun on it. So here's the...
I'm providing background music. Show them your little turny table.
No. We're just staring at that. You're going on the YouTubes.
I'm already on the YouTubes, man.
Yeah, not looking like that. You don't have your halo circle light. Okay, so here's the final result. Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe the river's a little too blue. It should be a little more yellowy, greeny, browny, mucky. The Mod Podge has dried, and I did a dry brush with white to get some of that detail to pop up. I like that I can still see through this a little bit. Let's go straight down here. No, let's look at, there we go. You can still see that sand dune underneath there, just sort of ghosted in there, right? I really like that. Right on. There we are. Thanks for watching. Like, favorite, subscribe.